My name is Bill Fisher. This demo covers character and camera animation using Adobe Animate. I've completed my demo animation and I'm going to play part of it back for you now. The flying chicken. In the land of chickens, where there is little difference between the finest and the poorest of fowl, one was very different and stood above the rest. You may notice that the paper texture and the vignette are turned off. Let me turn these on and show you what happens. And leapt off. You see right there during this sequence, the playback was not very smooth. Now, if I turn the vignette and the paper texture off and play it back, now it plays back smoothly. Another way to achieve smooth playback is to put your animation in outline mode. That's this little symbol right here. That will almost always give you a smooth playback. Before we can start animating, we have to make sure that every asset that's going to move independently is on its own layer. We can take a look at the main chicken and see that each component is on its own layer. And each component needs to be converted to a symbol, in our case, a graphic symbol. Job one then is to go through each layer, choose each asset, and convert it to a symbol. This includes every asset, such as these clouds that are moving in the background, the pecking chickens that we have at the beginning, the chicken coop itself. The process for converting something to a symbol is simply to select the asset and go to Modify, choose Convert to Symbol, choose Graphic, give it a name, and you can tell by the blue box and the little empty circle in the center of it that you now have a symbol. Let's take a look at one of our sequences. Here we have our chicken leaping off of the barn and starting to fly. The thing that you will notice is that this is pose-to-pose animation. Each pose is represented by a column of keyframes, and each column represents a pose. And then these little arrows denote a tween that automates the process of animating from one pose to another. Let's go ahead and add a little extra piece of pose-to-pose animation. Maybe we can have our chicken rock back and forth quickly before they leap. So I'm going to select a column, insert keyframe. I'll select a column here, and insert a keyframe, and then one here. Now I have columns for my three poses. I'm going to leave this pose the same. I'm going to change this pose, and then this will be back to the original pose. So I'm really only making changes right here. I'm going to unlock all the layers in my chicken. Select all of them, and I'm going to rock the chicken back a little bit. I'll take the head forward because we need to counterbalance that rearward motion. Move this wing up a little bit, and that should work pretty well, I think. Now, in order to smooth the motion between these two poses, where I have an empty keyframe, I can select a column, control click on that column anywhere, and create a classic tween. And now we have a nice little rocking motion before they leap. Let's play that back. Now let's look at this camera move that I made right here. Follows our character up as they start to fly. I'll recreate this so you can see how it's done. I'm going to remove this tween and remove this keyframe. All right, so this is that little flying bit without the camera move. Now, when I set up my camera tool, there's some layers that I don't want to be affected by it. The vignette and the paper texture. In this case, I don't want those to scale up and down with the camera. So I click this little icon right here underneath my camera column, and those will not be affected. Now, let's put in a keyframe right here. And let's grab our camera tool and let's follow that character up just by doing that. I could also zoom in a little bit if I wanted to. Then I can create a classic tween, and up we follow our little character. When we reach this part of the animation, you see our chicken is moving and flapping their wings at the same time. So we have a loop and a motion. Let me show you how to create that kind of animation. I'm going to clear these keyframes so that we can start over. The first thing that I did is I simply moved the chicken from one place to the other. Once I did that, I could go in and create keyframes here. Now that I have those keyframes set, I know that whatever I do when I manipulate them, it will follow the path of that chicken upwards. So every other frame, I'm going to rotate that wing up, and that's going to give the flapping motion. I'm doing every other frame because I'm using the existing frames as the down motion. And there we have it. As you work in your post-pose animation, you may not want the audio to be running. As you can see, it can be quite annoying. So we can turn that off by simply turning the visibility of, in this case, the narration layer off. Now we can scrub, and you can see that we don't hear it. By combining pose-to-pose animation with camera movement, you can now complete your animation. Well, that wraps up the demo for today. Thanks for watching.